It's time to go back. Back to the year 2010. Calvin Coolidge had just become the 30th President of the United States. The Grand Canyon was newly formed, and TV's Doogie Howser was enjoying its 15th season on the air. That's right, it's time to look at How to Train Your Dragon, the original Monstrous Nightmare of 2010. Going backwards, here is the Monstrous Nightmare in his package as he would appear on store shelves, and apparently has been on store shelves for almost 5 years. Just look at the damage this thing has taken. I actually bought this on eBay. You can still get him pretty easily, running from about maybe $15 for a loose one, up to $50 for a nicely packaged one. Maybe your average would be $35. There are two Monstrous Nightmares out there. There's this one, which is a orange color, and there's also a purple one. Spin Master producing these dragons for Walmart exclusively, I believe. I don't remember seeing them anywhere else. You can kind of see why they changed the package design with the Defenders of Berk line and Dragons too, as this card is just so huge with the dragon sticking off quite a bit. I could see these getting damaged pretty well, and apparently has. You also have to snap the dragon's wings together, and there's a little bit of building to them, and that's not really the case anymore with the newer dragon toys. On the back of the box here, you've got a neat little How to Train Your Dragon. Oh, what a great movie that was. Little bio of the Monstrous Nightmare. And we've got a quick little photo demonstration of what the dragon's action feature is. Lift and lower the Monstrous Nightmare to engage his flying moves. So a real simple action feature, which is always preferred. I also like down here how they've got the look for the video game in an unmarked package. That's how they did things in 2010 when they still used the telegraph to do toy design boxes. So the Monstrous Nightmare easily burns out of his package. I should note, I do have a 2010 Toothless figure. He was the only dragon that I picked up from that collection, although I did pick up a bin of plastic dragons as well. I'm still kicking myself because I was holding a Red Death action figure and almost picked him up several times, and now he runs for over $300 on eBay. I'm also kicking myself for losing the projectile that Toothless had. I usually always keep my toys intact, and for some reason he's missing his projectile. Anyhow, here is the Monstrous Nightmare outside of his package. He's kind of tricky to stand because his feet back here are in kind of a flying mode thing going on. He's also tricky because you have to snap on his wings, and I wouldn't say that was the easiest, funnest thing to do. Thinking that this toy was old, had I broke them, then I wouldn't be able to really return it very easily. But the wings snap in here and here on these kind of funny peg-like posts. Thank goodness the new dragons don't have you do that. The tail also snaps in on the back here, but that wasn't as big of a deal. As for the likeliness of the Monstrous Nightmare, or I am assuming this is Hookfang, really good actually. I almost feel like this is the closest, best look I've seen compared to the Defenders of Berk and even Dragons 2 Hookfang. There's just a little more personality going on in his head and how his body looks. His tail here is a little soft, but you can see the spikes on his back are nice painted brown. He's got his little hands up here painted. Just feels like a really good close match to how the dragon looks. So even back in the year 2010 when they had to mold things out of candle wax, they did pretty well. I especially appreciate the detail in the scales or the texture of the wings of the dragons here. Lots of tiny little cracks and crevices and scales. Really makes him look like how Hookfang or any of the dragons would appear in that movie with the textures of those great animated dragons. So that is also a plus that I just don't see on the newer dragons. He does have a little bit of an over-wide mouth agape look. It's too bad we didn't have a hinge up in the back there to close his mouth because it's really wide open. But the Monstrous Nightmare was good at giving a roar like type of thing going, so I guess that's okay. I should also note his head rotates here on the neck, right where it attaches to his body on the hinge here. Hey, how's it going, Hookfang? I like hot sauce! So the action feature is kind of funny, but still works pretty well. Basically, you're supposed to move the dragon up and down for flapping action. There you go. You can see how his head is on a hinge connected to his wings, so if you were to push down his wings, his head will bob up and down, or if you pull his head up and down, you'll flap his wings a little bit. That's kind of a neat feature, very simple, and moves away from the projectile that often makes a headpiece look kind of funny, or wings that shoot discs like the other Hookfang that take away from the natural look of a dragon. So to do some quick comparisons, here is the Defenders of Berk Hookfang, and you can see right away now how the original Hookfang or Monstrous Nightmare really pulls off a better looking dragon. Now this dragon may have a fun action feature of flipping discs, he just feels a little more plastic compared to this lifelike Monstrous Nightmare here, although this one does have the really cool capture feet going on. Then there's the How to Train Your Dragon 2 Hookfang, the Power Dragon I believe, who's very red and has these funky hinged wings, which I actually kind of like still. You can see that this one's even more plastic playfulness compared to this lifelike dude. This one, the benefit having the awesome riding saddle going on. So, it's nice to see that these three different Hookfangs are radically different. Probably should note that there was no riding pegs back on this guy, and I guess you could pretend that in the original movie, as they were getting their dragons and pairing them up with riders, they did not have saddles and all that things yet, so we don't really expect that. And this is the older Snotlout from the new movie, so not really authentic either. So that is your 2010 Monstrous Nightmare. Totally glad I took the time and a little extra funds to pick up one of those older style dragons. I also picked up the infamous Zippleback, so I will be reviewing him shortly. So until scientists discover the next 3 planets, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, that's all I have to say about that from the year 2010.
Thanks for watching Squirrel Stampede.
I used to get a hamburger, fries, and Coke, a trolley ride into town, and a movie all for a nickel. A nickel? Wow, times have changed.